You know, we're always told to think our way to success, to build up that positive mindset and then go out and conquer the world. But what if that whole idea is completely backward? Today, we're going to dig into a simple framework that flips the script on work and productivity. And it all starts with getting real about how we see our own time.
So let me start with a question for you. Think about your entire year, all 8,760 hours of it. What percentage of that time do you think you actually spend, working? Just take a guess. 50%? Maybe more?
Well, the answer is kind of shocking. Even if you're a hard worker pulling 50-hour weeks, your scheduled work time only makes up about 27% of your entire year. The other 73%, that's your time for sleep, for family, for living your life.
But hold on, that 27%, that's just the time you plan to work. The real number is actually way, way smaller, because that doesn't count for all the little things that get in the way.
I mean, you know how it is. You get pulled into a random chat at the coffee machine. Or you take a quick look at your phone and suddenly 10 minutes have vanished. What's really wild is that every one of those tiny interruptions can cost you something like 17 minutes of focus just to get back on track. It adds up so fast. So when you factor in all those distractions, your actual productive time can shrink to as little as 20% of your work hours. Think about that. That's a tiny, tiny fraction of your year. But the good news is there is a way to get that time back. And to figure out how, we're going to use this really simple but powerful tool called the salesperson's diagram. Just think of it like a roadmap for making that small slice of your time incredibly powerful.
Okay, so the diagram has 4 parts. It all starts with your internal world, your mindset. Then it moves to your external plan, your strategy. From there, it's about what you actually do, your action. And the whole thing is pointing toward one thing: your ultimate destination, your goals.
So let's break this down, starting with the foundation. You've got your mindset, which is all about your internal beliefs. And then you've got your strategy. That's your external game plan. It's about making conscious choices about where you're going to focus your precious time and energy.
Now, the absolute core of a strong mindset is something called mental fortitude. It's just resilience. But here's the tough part. Some research suggests that up to 80% of our thoughts every single day tend to be negative. Our brains are literally wired to spot problems, which means we have to actively, consciously work on our perspective.
This is all about a simple but really powerful mental flip. So instead of thinking, oh man, I'm so scared of rejection, you reframe it. You say, you know what? Rejection is just data. It's a chance to learn. Instead of saying, I have no time, you own it. My time is limited, so I have to protect it. This little change in language, it changes everything.
And this new mindset, it totally changes how other people see you too.
There's this fantastic story about a salesperson who gets a call from a massive potential client, a real VIP. Instead of just dropping everything, he calmly checks his calendar and says, okay, I can give you my complete undivided attention next Monday at noon. And the client? They were impressed. Why? Because when you value your own time, other people start to see you as more valuable too. Okay, so now we get to the most critical and maybe the most counterintuitive part of this whole diagram. This is the engine. This is what drives success. And it's probably the exact opposite of what you've always been told. The whole idea boils down to this: action creates commitment. See, most of us, we wait. We wait to feel motivated. We wait to feel confident before we do something hard. We need our mood to be perfect. But top performers, they don't wait. They get that action isn't the result of motivation, it's the cause of it. So look, here's the old model we've all been sold. Fix your thoughts, that'll create positive emotions, and then finally, that'll lead to action. The new way, the effective way, flips this on its head. You take action first, even if you don't feel like it. That action is what generates the positive emotion, that little hit of accomplishment. And that is what starts to reshape your thoughts for the better. You don't think your way into a new way of acting. You have to act your way into a new way of thinking. So what does action actually look like? Well, in sales, it's very specific. The best of the best consistently spend at least 12% of their week, that's about 6 hours, on proactive prospecting. They aren't sitting around waiting for the phone to ring.
They're taking the action that makes it rain.
So why is it so hard to just take action sometimes? There's this old story that explains it perfectly. You have a full-grown elephant, right? It's strong enough to break chains, but it won't even try to break a tiny little rope tied to a post. Why? Because when it was a baby, it learned that the rope was stronger. That rope, that's our past failures. It's our limiting beliefs. We have the strength now, but we're mentally conditioned not to even try. Taking action is about finally breaking that rope.
And that brings us to the final, most important piece of the puzzle. What gives us the strength to finally snap that rope? It's connecting all this stuff, the mindset, the strategy, the action, to our ultimate goals, to our why. There's a really powerful way to visualize this. Imagine your life is a meter stick, representing about 75 years. Now, snap off the part that represents how old you are today. What's left? That's all the time you've got. And a third of that is going to be for sleep. Another third for your personal life. That tiny little piece that's left over, that's your time to work and to achieve your goals. It really creates a healthy sense of urgency, doesn't it?
And this is where it all comes together. Your job, your professional goals. Look, that's just the vehicle. It's the car that gets you there. The real destination, the reason you're on the journey, that's your personal why. Providing for your family, buying that dream house, finally getting that financial freedom. That's the real fuel. And that really leaves us with one last thought. The daily grind, all the actions, the strategies, that's all just the vehicle that's carrying you through life. So the most important question you can possibly ask yourself is, what's my destination? Because knowing that, well, that's the ultimate fuel for everything else.